All right. Welcome back to a brand new video of the Targeted Individual Program, Targeted Individual Experience. So I called Pam this morning at 6:40 something, and she was up. I was very surprised she was up. Okay, because when I called, I spoke to her, and I spoke to my son last night because I called around a little after 10. I spoke to her earlier. She was yelling at our daughter. So I was a little bit concerned. I said, let me. So I waited about an hour, and I said, okay, let me call back to make sure everything is okay. You know what I'm saying? So she didn't answer her phone. Then Ethan called me. My son called me on the house phone to let me know. I said, is everything okay? Is your mother calmed down? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, well, all right. So this was like around, like I said, after 10, right? So my son when I left, he went to, he was supposed to take a bath because I left around a little after 8, right? A little after 8, and I had fed them dinner because I had cooked yesterday. I made roti, and I had made rice on the side. So, and this is because I cooked because Friday I took drumsticks out to defrost, and Pam did the cooking. So I said to her, so I said to her on Sunday, I said, since you didn't cook, just season it, and I will cook it. So she didn't do that either, and so I had to remind her again, and finally she did it, and so I cooked yesterday. And then last night she was doing a daughter hair, and I said to her, please do not have her up late. Okay, she has school in the morning. I remember she didn't go to school yesterday because she said her stomach was hurting her. Right? And so got a text this morning. She called me this morning around 9 o'clock. Of course I didn't answer the phone because I knew that the kids were home. Right? Because again, I keep telling her, stop doing these kids here during the school week. Particularly, also this includes Sunday. And, she don't listen. And every time she does it, the kids end up staying home because they're too tired, because she kept them up late, and they're too tired to get up in the morning. So when she called me 9 o'clock, I was like, I didn't even answer the phone really. I was sleeping, and I was like, I am not getting up. I am not answering the phone. All right? I woke up early to call her to wake her ass up. Right? But like I said, she was up, which I was surprised. There's very few times that she's actually, when I call her that early, that she's up. Look at her hand signal. Look at how touching this. Doing the same thing back too. Then she'll do the middle finger. Right? There's very few times that I will call her and she's up, and particularly when she went to bed late. Right? Usually I call her 6:30. I have to call her back 6:45 because she goes back to sleep. And even sometimes when I call her back at 6:45, she still goes back to sleep. Right? So look again. Why are you parking on the sidewalk? But again, because they wanted me to see the license plate number. It says 120. Right? That's why they parked the vehicle on the sidewalk. Right? Look, no ticket though. No ticket. Right? Parking the vehicle on the sidewalk and no ticket. Why is that? Huh? Anyhow. And I talk about these cults working in tandem with one another, including their those on the New York Predator Police Force. That's exactly what I'm talking about. All right. Anyhow, as I was saying, so when I finally got up, she had sent me a text, a long ass text about how, the kids didn't want to get up, and Ethan was, didn't bathe last night. Of course, he didn't bathe last night because one, you should have did Alyssa's here over the weekend. You had Saturday, you had Sunday. But you decided that you wasn't going to do nothing. You didn't even do their laundry. right? Because the reason why, because you want to. Who is this, a white girl? Of course, right? I want you to see the hand signals and the shit that they do. Watch their hand signals. Watch what they do. Yeah, watch what they do. Right? Watch all the hand signals that they do. Fanatic cults. These are destructive fanatic cults members. Right? So, like I said to her, I said, you, no matter what I say to you, you don't listen. Okay, and instead of putting our children school interests and making that a priority also, and I said priority also, okay? Not just the only priority. But you refuse to do that. You are more concerned about your trip going to Mexico than making them up early, making sure they go to bed on time, doing what I ask you to do, turn off the internet at a certain time, right before you go to bed, at a certain time. But you refuse to do that. So this long drawn out email she sent me, I was just like, look, there's no accountability on her part now. Not, like I know I kept them up late because I was doing a list here. I know I shouldn't be doing that stuff and I need to stop doing it. No, none of that stuff. None of that is in there. So I wrote her, look, 4328 in the number 32. So I sent her text messages back, and she was like, "Oh, don't let them play video games." And like, first of all, the kids don't play video games when they're home, particularly when you leave them home when I'm there. I make sure they read and they do schoolwork. So you're not going to do that shit.